Well, thanks very much for having me. I've been trying ever since, well, 4 years ago to share as much as I can with as many people as I can of Touch for Health because, like I mentioned earlier, I've been doing it for 40 years and I just love it so much. And I use it every day in my own life. And I believe it's what helps keep me grounded during these turbulent times. And I've just been listening to some podcasts while I've been revising my slideshow because I've over the last 4 years I've done several of these presentations, and each time I think, oh, I'll just tweak it a little bit more, always trying to improve. And the same with my Touch for Health instruction. I do go on updates and review with colleagues best practice and try and we're just always trying to be the best we can. And I incorporate Touch for Health in my work as an acupuncturist in my clinic. And I call myself an acupuncturist mainly because that's the word that a lot of people understood when I first started in practice. People went, Kinesi what? But then they also said aquapuncture. So, I did, people still didn't get what I was doing. So I basically, I don't know now. I'm just a mixture of things. Over the years, I've added quite a few things to my toolbox, but always come back to Touch for Health. And it's the basis, the ground that I stand on, because it is from Chinese medicine. It's to do with being grounded in the earth, but also bringing in the energy from the heavens and the yin and the yang. Everybody these days knows, I think, about yin and yang and how we have yang meridians that come downwards in the body and yin meridians that come upwards. And when we say downwards, it's because we have the archetypal person standing, holding their hands up to the heavens, and the yang meridians come down. But I'm going to talk you through helping yourself with brushing those meridians. It's such a glorious feeling, and the emotional stress release, and the ear energy balance for lifting the energy when you're feeling a bit downtrodden by things, or you're feeling tired and you need to perk yourself up. You don't necessarily need a cup of coffee. You can pull your ears. And eye balancing for when you're on the screen too much, which is often the case these days. And the switching for electromagnetic disturbances, scrambling left and right, top to bottom, back to front, because we can get disrupted. As we are probably all aware, there are a lot of things disrupting ourselves, our bodies and our minds and our emotions all day, every day. And a lot of people are really tense about that. But if you can do these kinds of things to help release stuff on a daily basis, you stand much better chance of them not accumulating and causing more long-term um, trouble, really, as it stands. So I just probably need to explain my accent because I forget. I've lived in York for a very, very, very long time, um, most of the last 50 years. I came over from Canada in 1972. So it's 52 years. Jeez. Anyway, hopefully, I've still got a good number of years to go yet because I'm trying to keep myself well so that I can keep doing my work because I don't see the point in retiring. I mean, I love gardening. I want to do that as well. And I love my granddaughter and I want to spend more time with her. But I do feel this is kind of my mission in life. And I've been looking again at my birth chart recently, and I see a lot of things in there that make sense. But I'm not a big platform person, and I do try and just talk to people one to one as much as possible or small groups. I'm really happy to and proud to be part of the People's Health Alliance, and we do our Wednesday well-being every Wednesday morning at 7:30 in the morning. So that's fun. So I don't stay up late on Tuesday nights uh, deliberately, but yeah, it's great. We record a lot of things, and there is a platform there, and I am reaching a wider audience by sharing a lot of the stuff I've accumulated over the years. Still haven't written my book, which I really kind of want to do to get all the stuff I've gathered. It's not my musings per se. It's just information and it's available in lots of other places. But I feel I have a unique kind of combination of things from the acupuncture world and kinesiology. Touch for Health was the original kinesiology, and there's a family tree picture that I have that somebody put together where Touch for Health is the roots and the stem of this tree, and then there's all these other hundreds of different branches that have, and it's all over the world. It started in California, um, but with a group of chiropractors who decided they really wanted their patients to have some sense of control of their own health. Now, this was back in the 70s. So, it really resonates. And I think they were way ahead of their time. And it kind of like loads of people now are going, I want back control of my health. And I'm going, yeah, we have Touch for Health. Here we are. And, it's something that helps prevent people having to go to experts, whether they're doctors or whether they're people like myself. If people have control of their own health, they're not befuddled and bewitched and beholden to people who are telling them, you need to do this because I say so. And you don't know your own body like I do because I've studied for X number of years and I know all this magical stuff. And I'll hoodwink you with muscle testing and I'll douse with pendulums and I'll wave my hands around you and you just lie there and accept it. If you have a sense of understanding and listening to your own body, you're meeting that practitioner on equal terms and you're sharing your story with them that makes sense to you, and then they can help you. We're just guides. We're just not even guides. We're colleagues. We're associates that are walking along your life path with you for a short time, but you're the only person who's with you 24/7. So it makes sense to me that people have a sense of what to do themselves. And my big part of my practice is children. Oh gosh, the children. Yeah, that is such a worry right now, and I'm at a loss really as to how to do anything for the wider, bigger issues that we all know are going on. But I feel like if we can just keep local and keep close in our communities and look after the children that are in our vicinity, that's the best we can do. And then keeping our eye on the bigger things and keeping just hoping and praying that the bigger things are going to change and people are going to stop being so evil. That's all I can say. I'm the PHA ambassador for children, and I'm trying to bring together people. Well, I have been for the last 2 years, bringing together people who are concerned about children and working towards helping children in that respect in our local hubs and trying to bring in more young people to have a say on what they want because they are much at the mercy of their parents and the educators and the medical people and the practitioners even more so perhaps than the adults. So I do talk to families a lot about helping, and I do workshops on helping children at home so that parents can feel less helpless with when children get ill. It's a big thing. It makes you really frantic and worried, and people end up children in hospital when they didn't really need to be there, but they only know that to go to. And of course you've got to be able to tell the difference. If something is really serious, yes, by all means go to the medical people who can really save lives with their things they can do. However, there's a lot of stuff, like I said, you can do to keep things balanced and steady so that the dramatic, sudden things, children get ill so quickly and so suddenly and dramatically sometimes, fevers and splurges of exudate from all orifices, and we need to be able to manage those situations and bring fevers down to an extent where they're doing the work they need to do but not allowing them to cause harm. That is the fear-based way of going about things, and we can't really always be assuming that the worst is going to happen. Fevers are sometimes really harsh on the body, but if they're managed, they do a lot of clearing and they do a lot of help in evolution of that child's development. And often you will find a child becoming stronger and more growth in development. They just take a surge after they've had an illness. So I've always encouraged parents to consider rashes, fevers, you know, diarrhea, vomiting, all those kind of things. They're bits of clearing and colds. People say they've got a cold, and I go, yay, good, because you're having a clearing. And it was my association with many other practitioners over the years. I've managed a clinic, a multidisciplinary clinic for many years, and now we've shrunk down. We've become quite small and more compact. But you're always learning, and I've learned so much from some of my colleagues and some of the wonderful podcasts that have been out here, and your podcasts and talks on People's Health Alliance talks and things that we're always learning, and I feel that I can help people, point them in the right direction to other learning as well. So I will now, having started blathering, I will share my slideshow. Just one moment, I have to move this. Oh, it's always the way, isn't it? The things get in the way. Come on, off you go. No, no, don't do that. Slideshow, there we go. Ta-da! Now I just want to move this black thing down. There we go. So yeah, so Touch for Health is where I started my foray into alternative, complementary, integrative healthcare. We've called ourselves many things over the years. Um, and I studied linguistics at first at university, and then child language acquisition. So children have been a theme in my life all the time. I did acupuncture training here in York. I did a teacher's training also here in York. I belong to the Association of Acupuncture Clinicians because my previous acupuncture association was not moving fast enough to get us back to work when we were told we couldn't work. And I was quite indignant about the fact that we were not allowed to see people, and yet people were allowed to go to the hospital, and the doctors hadn't quite shut down at that point. But we were no, you can't see people. You're dangerous. Yeah, okay, really? I don't think so. But maybe we were. I mean, you see, it's becoming quite clear that we're quite subversive, aren't we, really? So I've got in the center of my diagram, you might recognize this, and often it's portrayed with the red circle at the top. This is the five element symbol from acupuncture, and there's a whole five element school which informed a lot of the Touch for Health foundation of Touch for Health. It was something that was kind of a part of the original Chinese medicine, and then when they brought Chinese medicine to the UK, they kind of reduced it down to basically acupuncture for points for pain, and that's kind of where it's gotten stuck. And doctors do study a bit of acupuncture, but basically they study trigger points, as they call them, and quite a few other practitioners have done short courses in that. But I think people should study as much as they can and learn as much as they can. And so I studied the TCM kind of acupuncture, following on from my Touch for Health. But I've always had one foot in the camp of five elements. I've turned it around to put the blue on the top because following on from one of my teachers, Nick Haynes, and if you look him up, he runs a thing called the Five Institute, and it's fascinating. You can get a free vitality test to find out which of the elements is predominant in your being and the way you work in the world, and that's fascinating because we're all a bit of everything, but some of them are more prominent, and you can see the ones that are not prominent are the ones that you need to nurture and work on. So it's always all about balance. In Touch for Health, we're always talking about balance. So it's about muscle balance and meridian balance. And so the chiropractors knew such a lot about the structure of the body, but they wanted to understand how meridians worked with that. So they did a lot of muscle testing, muscle monitoring, muscle questioning to find out from the actual person what was the right thing for them and what was needed and which things went with which. And so now we've got such a lot of information about the main structural muscles of the body and which meridians they relate to. So, in order to do a good balance for someone, oh yeah, just finished my introduction here to me. International Kinesiology College is where I'm registered as a Touch for Health instructor. And the Flower and Vibrational Essence Association, flower essences were actually the second thing I learned about from my acupuncture teacher. He hadn't started the acupuncture college yet. Hugh McPherson, bless his soul, he's departed 3 years ago. He introduced me to flower essences, and I still continue to use them um, uh, all the time, all the time. Particularly the five flower essence from the people at Healing Herbs. They are my favorite go-to people because they do them in the traditional way in the sun with the flowers on the water and the sun coming down on them. You may have had some acquaintance with flower essences. So, yes, and Wellbeing in York CIC is my clinic that I share with a number of other people. Feel free to contact me. Oh, that's not the email I want people to use. I've changed it on my link tree. If you look on my link tree, I'll put the link tree on there. See, there's always something to fix, isn't there? I have got that email. It still does work. However, I've gone on too long now, and my slideshow is jammed on that one. Sorry, guys. Technology, bless it. I'll go back to the beginning. There we go. Oh no, I can't do that. Yeah, this always happens. Oh, Dini, I don't want you to have to edit this. You just leave it as it is with the nonsense.
Don't worry, it's absolutely fine.
Yeah, yeah, we'll delete. Oh, there. Okay. Now it's moved, but now it's too big. I'm going to escape. There we go. That's better, I think. We'll start again. So, yes. Nope, hang on. I'm not did I screen share that? No, I didn't. Hello, June. Wakey, wakey. Okay. So this is basically the second page, which covers it's a screenshot or a slide of the first page of my manual that the Touch for Health Association, not Touch for Health, Kinesiology College provides for all the students who get a really lovely manual and a workbook with it. And we talk about the triangle of health. So this will be available for people after the talk. So you can read about the history of how Touch for Health was formed. The triangle of health rests on this principle of everything supporting everything else. But of course, nobody is ever completely balanced. We're not in a state of suspended animation. Life happens, things come in and out and disturb our balance. And then you get the triangle goes a little bit wonky. If we're pinched on an emotional level, someone's upset us and we're holding a bit of a feeling there, then the structural side of things can be influenced. And we all know that because we get tense muscles. The biochemical side of things, we can have an upset tummy from an emotional outburst. Or, if we have an upset tummy from another reason, that can affect us mentally and emotionally and structurally. And so, they all influence each other. And so our aim is to provide balance, as we say, so that they are they're all equal and all supporting each other. This is one of my favorite little slogans that I got from Richard Bach. Some of you might remember Jonathan Livingston Seagull, the book. He also wrote this book called Illusions. And it's just to remind everybody that you already know a lot of this stuff. It's not new. I mean, these guys didn't invent these things. They took stuff that was in the body that people know already, and instinctively I'll show the one of my favorite things to share is something that everybody does all the time, but they just don't know why they're doing it. So this is a little meditation that I can't quote the source, unfortunately, because it was one of my colleagues at an instructor training session, and he brought this. And at the time, I didn't think to say, "Hey, where did you get that?" Now I go, "Where's your source? Give me the evidence. Give me the footnotes. Give me the references." But at the time, I just thought it was, and it is lovely. And whether it is actually Taoist or not, I don't know, and it doesn't matter. So we're moving quickly on to my favorite thing, the emotional stress release. So this is basically for people to read later on. I'm going to describe it now, and I'm going to show you. This is me doing it in one of my previous treatment rooms. There are two acupuncture points on the forehead, which are good for the eyes. Okay, that's what it says in the acupuncture textbooks. There's more depth to that, but each acupuncture point has got a lot of interactions with other acupuncture points, a lot of levels of service to balance a person. And the art of being an acupuncturist consists of combining the right points for a person in that given moment, given their whole picture. You take account of everything, not just the actual painful elbow or knee or neck or headache or whatever it is they're coming with. You have to look at everything. So these points are used in acupuncture, but not a lot. The guys in Touch for Health took them on board, and what they found that they do is you can hold them like this with one hand, and this is the thing that everybody does. You go into a room and you go, "Why did I come in here? I can't remember. What am I doing here?" And this will really help you if you just stay there for a few more seconds, or even up to a couple of minutes is all you need, really. You can hold it quite safely for up to 10 minutes. And after that, it just gets annoying. And if you're trying to do it on children, they don't appreciate it. So you have to sit next to them and do it on yourself and then pass it through. This is where I've known about energy passing between people for a very long time, because we teach in Touch for Health surrogate balancing. We are all influenced very strongly. And in my classes, I demonstrate that by people hooking up to each other, and we can see the energy. We've got a little gadget that shows the energy passing through, but also you can balance someone using someone else by hooking them up. So this is where, it's useful for kids. So what it actually does, what does it do? It warms the forehead up. It warms those points up. It draws the blood in the brain from the back of the brain where you're stuck in the survival mode, and it brings it to the thinking part where you can actually think what it is you're supposed to be doing. Or it can release held emotions from a past event. It can also help you with a future event if you can visualize something tricky coming up that you might not feel too calm about, like giving a talk. You can hold your forehead ahead of time and go, "It's going to go fine. It's going to be fine. It is fine." And using it as an affirmation tool, it's really useful for that. So I encourage everybody to carry on doing it, because it's something that you're already doing and you know about. And it's great also for, actually, if you've hurt your elbow, by the way, you can hold the sore point on your elbow, your knee, your back, your stomach, your neck, and it just helps move the energy in that area too. So, moving quickly down from the forehead to the eyes, this technique is really great if your eyes are tired, or if you're feeling that you're maybe wanting to prevent the necessity for more glasses as you go along in life. We all kind of subscribe to that idea. Well, after you're 40, you're going to need glasses for reading. And, you know, that kind of sometimes is true. But why is that happening? That's partly because there's a load of sludge not moving in the back of your eyes. The muscles around the eyes are tired, and the debris and the waste products are not being taken away. And so you can develop real serious eye problems, or you can try and prevent them by doing this eye exercise. So this is really, and that's all described very in detail there, but I'll just quickly, because I've wittered on long enough now and I want to crack on with the rest of the show. So I just have to show you how to do it. You hold your navel with one hand, and under your collarbones, there are two hollows, the exact width of your own thumb and your middle finger. So you can measure quite adequately on your own body with your own hands. And there's these points there, and you press in quite firmly and rub around. Can you see how I'm rubbing? It's in and around. And you can go backwards, you can go like that. And you're holding the navel quite still. Okay, there's a picture of me doing it there. That's me holding my belly button. And then you swap hands and do it that way as well. But at the same time as you're doing this, you take your eyes up to the ceiling without moving the head, down to the floor, far to the left, far to the right. And if you want to be really thorough, you can imagine a clock face in front of you and go all the way round slowly, because otherwise you'll make yourself dizzy, and then go back again. And then you can look at the end of your nose and far away, and you're helping with your focus, and all the time rubbing there if your hands are all right. I mean, obviously, if you've got delicate hands, it's going to be a bit tricky, but you do have to press quite firmly. So I would encourage you to practice that every single day. And maybe you might find your peripheral vision improves and your focus improves and you feel brighter in your eyes, more clear. It's a lovely thing to do. So then the ears, I mentioned at the beginning, pulling your ears is one of the great ways to lift your energy if it's feeling like it's dipping. And everybody does have a little bit of a time of the day when you feel a bit, oh, I could just go and have a nap. And sometimes you do need to go and have a nap. You know what I'm saying? You don't deny yourself naps. I think it's fine to have naps. But if you are actually in a situation where you need to be perky and you can delay the nap, then in your ear, you see, in acupuncture terms, the whole of the body is reflected, like reflexology on the feet and the hands and the tongue, by the way, the whole body is reflected. The macrocosm is in the microcosm. So what you do is you grab hold of the top of your ear. Some people's ears are quite folded over, very individual, our ears. And you grab and you pull and you rub all the way around. Now I've got earrings, so obviously you'd need to take your earrings out to get the full effect. But going around, you might find some tender spots. And I always say do both of them. And you can do them both together, but I've just done one. I'll demonstrate the other one. And if you turn your head to look over your shoulder, and if you can reach round the back, you can rub the ear that's facing the back with the opposite hand, and that helps the neck. Now, a lot of eye problems, ear problems, sinus problems, headaches, blood pressure issues are due to tight necks. And, I'm sure you've probably heard about the vagus nerve. I've got a little video on my YouTube channel, me demonstrating how to what I've learned about the vagus nerve. There are so many other videos on YouTube about the vagus nerve at the moment. So, there are lots of different exercises, but the neck is so, so important. So everything goes through the neck. And there's all these meridians going through, there's speech, the throat chakra, there's breathing, obviously, and the eustachian tubes from the ears have to drain down there. And if that's not loose and flexible, then you're in trouble. Things back up. So doing this is really going to help. And there's me doing this is 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago. So again, moving down, this right to left balance and top to bottom balance and back to front balance, it's helping to coordinate. We can get scrambled by external influences. Electromagnetics is one of the most obvious ones because the energy meridians are electricity in our body. They're the things that keep everything working. It's in the nerves, it's in the blood, it's in the lymph, it's in the muscles, it's in the digestive system, it's in the breathing respiratory system, it's in everything, the energy, it's in the brain. So if the energy is disrupted by other external energy, then we're not going to be functioning at our best. So it's a really good thing to do this a little bit every day. And I always do this with the cross crawl when I get off my bicycle or when I feel like something has disrupted my energy. So it's a really great thing to do. So we're going back to under the collarbones and holding the navel again and just looking, it doesn't matter where now, where the eyes are, you can, and then swapping hands. And then the top lip and the bottom lip, and I have a picture of that, me doing that. You can go like that, squeezing your lips together and pressing quite firmly and rubbing sideways, or you can do it like that where you can see what is going on. And again, swapping hands because of the yin and the yang. The left is generally more yin and the right is generally more yang. Nothing is completely yin and completely yang. You probably already know that, but it's worth repeating. Everything has got a little bit of the opposite in it, and they can flip from one to the other. And the third one, I'm going to stand up for this one, is holding the belly button and rubbing the tailbone. And it's very hard to do sitting down. So that's what you need to do as well. It's the three go together. So leaving one out would not be suitable. And as I just mentioned, cross crawl, I'm going to stand up again for this because I haven't got a picture of me doing that. I have got a little diagram though here, and it's to do with getting the cerebrospinal fluid flowing better up the spine. The sacrum and the cranium have to move. Well, ideally, they will be moving as we breathe, ever so microscopically, and helping that fluid flow. And of course, then all of the internal organs, the nerves come from the spine to the internal organs. And if you have the nerves being bathed properly in the cerebrospinal fluid, everything will function really well as well. So here's some pictures from the book of people doing different cross crawl. But the easiest and most basic one, and again, I've got videos of this on my YouTube channel, so you can have a look at me being daft. So I'm just going to show you. You raise your left knee and put your right hand on, and your right knee and put your left hand on. And you do that quite methodically. You don't do it in a hurry, and you don't have to be very slow. Just, a nice rhythm. You can do it to music if you want. That's not a bad thing to do. And you actually are stimulating the sacrum, but you're also getting the circulation moving. So these guys are doing all sorts of different ones. You can do the John Travolta kind of one where you're going left to right, and cross country skiing in front of you with the opposite leg going back. And then there's all sorts of fancy ones. You can create them yourself, dancing around. But it's just really great because it coordinates the two sides of the brain and the cerebrospinal fluid flowing and the muscle coordination. If people didn't crawl when we were babies, we're very much meant to crawl, because it begins that process of our development. But lots don't. Lots shuffle on their bums, or they just go, I'm standing up. That's it. I'm doing it. And then off they go. And it would be really helpful for those people to actually go back and do this and remedy the missing gap in their evolution, because it's really quite helpful. And a lot of people who are dyslexic actually didn't crawl, and they are using this, have been for a number of decades now, in dyslexia institutes and whatnot, to try and help. And there's a whole school of kinesiology called brain gym and educational kinesiology, where they do help with figure eights and drawing the two sides of the brain together. It really can be valuable to help people in that way. And so, yeah, those are my basic things. Cramps and muscle spasms. Yeah, that's something I haven't got a picture of, and it's really hard to do. So I'm gonna skip over that, but you can actually ask me about that because I think it's something we need to think about. The Meridian brush, I really, really want you to get this one. This is so lovely. And it's like having an energy shower. Basically, this diagram just shows the one side. You do have to do both sides. So I'm going to demonstrate. Again, I have a, a video of me doing this on a colleague who is rather taller than I am because I couldn't find anybody shorter. So that was hilarious. But you can do it on yourself or on another individual, and it's great for parents to do for children, especially if they're setting off for school and they're feeling a bit wobbly. It's just a lovely warming up type of thing. So I'll just take my scarf off because it's getting in the way. Okay, so the central meridian comes up the front to the chin, from the pubic bone to the chin, and you can do that with both hands, and that's often advisable. If your energy is drooping along with the ear rubbing, you can do that. And then there's the meridian up the back, the governing. It goes up, and then of course you can't reach any further. So you have to reach over it, pull it up. Sorry, I'm talking away from the thing. You have to reach up and over and pull it over the top of your head. So it meets there. The two meet here. These are the ones we were just rubbing a minute ago. So you do those two first, and then you go over your face, down your torso, down the outsides of your legs, and off your feet. Then you come back up from the inside of the feet up to the chest on the inside of the legs. Then you go from the chest down the inside of the arm and brush off your hands. It's very important that you go the right way on this one. Well, all of them. You have to go, you don't want to be running the opposite direction. You're going to disrupt things. So you do that. That's just such a lovely, soothing thing to do. And then going up the outside of the arm and over the face. So you're coming up and around. And then the last one is over the top of the head and then down the back and off the little toes. So we'll move swiftly on. And oh, what we do in touch for health is we always look at how people are balanced. If they're holding something in one shoulder or the other, or they're holding both shoulders forward or back. This is only on one plane, but we do look at the plumb line down the side and the front and the back to see, if the knees are even. Nobody is completely symmetrical. Everybody has got structural kind of things going on. But if we keep trying to get back to a good balance, it's going to help everything flow better. So that's where we look at that. And what we've got here, the emotional stress release points are part of these neurovascular holding points all over the head. And this is a really lovely thing to do for someone else when you've done the training. It's not really recommended to do on yourself. And you also always need to ground if you're just doing stuff on the head. It's very important. So they balance through the capillaries and the bloodstream. And so, yeah. And then there's the neurolymphatic reflex points on the front and the back of the body. These ones are rubbed very firmly, like the ones under the collarbones. And we use those to balance each, well, and the same with the neurovasculars, to balance each muscle and meridian that appears to be out of balance to help restore that harmony. And this one also is used. There's a sequence that you can use, a technique for jet lag, which is really nice, that you set your clock to the time of day where you're going, and then you balance the ones, because each meridian has got its 2-hour slot. And so there we go. We've come to the end of those. That's what I've covered, I think, apart from the muscle spasms. We haven't done much on that, but we will talk about that if you have questions. And that's what comes next after you've done the self-care thing, or you can just dive straight into level 1. There are 4 levels and they're taught all over the world. So if anybody wants, they don't have to come to me. There are loads of us. There are hundreds of us, of thousands, maybe even, all over the world. And then there's the proficiency level, which is assessed by someone who's done a specific extra training. And then you can go on to become an instructor, or you can use the kinesiology with your other practice. You can actually start from level one, incorporating it into your other practices, and you can become a member of the Kinesiology Federation in the UK, or you can go on to the Touch for Health UK website and talk to other practitioners and instructors on there. And there's my link tree, which has got all the things, all the things. I've got a newsletter and yeah, and the PHA because I'm listed on there, and I'm also on the People's Health Alliance YouTube channel with Wednesday Wellbeing.